Laura Bennett had always been the quiet force behind her husband Mark's success. At 54, she was the accountant who kept their household running and Mark's tech startup, Innovex Solutions, financially sound. For 28 years, she balanced budgets, paid bills, and raised their daughter, Emily, while Mark chased deals and dazzled investors with his charisma. Their home in Palo Alto, a sleek modern house with floor-to-ceiling windows, was a testament to their shared life, or so Laura thought. It was Emily's graduation party, held in the glassy event space of Innovex's headquarters, where everything unraveled. The room buzzed with Silicon Valley elites, venture capitalists, engineers, and Emily's friends from Stanford. Fairy lights twinkled above long tables draped in white linen, and a string quartet played softly. Laura, in a tailored navy dress, smiled as she watched Emily, radiant in a cream jumpsuit, accept congratulations. Mark, 56, with his silver-flecked hair and easy grin, raised a champagne flute for a toast. "To my brilliant daughter, Emily, and to new beginnings," Mark said, his voice carrying over the crowd. Then, his eyes locked on Laura, and his smile faltered. "And to Laura, my wife of nearly 3 decades, I have to be honest. I've found someone new. Sophia and I are starting a new chapter together." The room froze. Glasses stopped clinking. Conversations died. Laura felt every pair of eyes on her, the weight of their stares like a physical force. Sophia, Mark's 32-year-old business partner, stood near the bar in a crimson dress, her expression a mix of smugness and unease. Emily's face crumpled, her joy replaced by shock. Laura's heart pounded, but her face remained calm, a skill honed from years of handling Mark's impulsive decisions. The whispers started as Laura set down her glass. She felt the familiar urge to smooth things over, to protect Mark's image, but something snapped inside her. She'd known for months that Mark was hiding something: late-night calls, unexplained expenses, a new evasiveness. She hadn't confronted him, not out of fear, but because she was building her case. Laura was no stranger to numbers, and numbers told stories Mark couldn't hide. "Thank you for the announcement, Mark," Laura said, her voice steady. She reached into her clutch and pulled out a slim black USB drive, placing it beside his plate. "Something for you to review later." Mark's confident smirk wavered. Sophia shifted uncomfortably. Laura turned to Emily, who looked like she might shatter. "Sweetheart, this is your day. Don't let this ruin it." She kissed Emily's forehead, smoothed her dress, and walked toward the exit. The crowd parted, their murmurs trailing her like a wake. Outside, in the cool evening air, Laura exhaled. The glass building loomed behind her, a symbol of the life she'd helped build. She heard footsteps, Mark, storming out, the USB drive in his hand. "Laura, what the hell is this?" he demanded, his charm replaced by panic. "Just some documents," she said, heading for her car. "You'll see." Laura had always been the silent partner, managing Innovex's books while Mark took the spotlight. She'd caught the first red flag 6 months ago: small, irregular transfers from the company's accounts to an offshore entity in the Caymans. At first, she thought it was a clerical error, but the amounts grew: $5,000, then $20,000, then $100,000. Mark's explanations were vague: client expenses or investment opportunities. Laura, who'd spent 25 years at a top accounting firm before joining Innovex, didn't buy it. She started digging. Using her access to the company's financial systems, Laura traced the transfers to a shell company, Horizon Ventures, registered under Sophia's name. Bank statements revealed lavish dinners, a leased penthouse in San Francisco, and jewelry purchases that didn't match Laura's modest tastes. Then she found the emails, carelessly left on Mark's open laptop one evening: plans for a new startup with Sophia, funded by siphoning Innovex's profits. The final blow was a message to Sophia: "After Emily's graduation, I'll tell Laura it's over. We'll start fresh." Laura could have confronted him then, but she waited. Anger gave way to strategy. She consulted a corporate lawyer, Karen Walsh, who specialized in financial fraud. Karen confirmed what Laura suspected: Mark's actions violated Innovex's shareholder agreement, which required transparency in financial dealings. Laura owned 40% of the company, a stake she'd earned through years of unpaid labor. The agreement included a clause: any partner found guilty of financial misconduct could be ousted, their shares redistributed. For months, Laura gathered evidence, screenshots, bank records, emails, while maintaining her role as the dutiful wife. She froze certain accounts, redirected funds to protect Innovex's core assets, and prepared a dossier for the board. She also secured her personal finances, moving her savings to a separate account Mark couldn't touch. Her dream of starting a financial consulting firm had been deferred for years, always after Mark's next big deal. Now, it was her lifeline. Back at their Palo Alto home, Laura sat in her study, surrounded by family photos and Innovex awards. Her phone buzzed with texts from Emily: "Mom, are you okay?" and "Dad's telling everyone you're overreacting." Laura replied, "I'm fine, sweetheart. Focus on your celebration. We'll talk tomorrow." She ignored calls from friends and Mark's sister, Claire, who'd always been kind but loyal to Mark. The front door slammed. Mark stormed in, the USB drive clutched in his fist. "This is a setup, Laura. You're trying to ruin me." The drive contained her dossier, proof of his embezzlement, the shell company, and his plans with Sophia. It also included a draft letter to Innovex's board, outlining her intent to call an emergency meeting. "You ruined yourself," Laura said, closing her laptop. "You stole from our company, Mark. From our family. From Emily's future. That money was for expansion," he shouted. "Sophia's startup is the next big thing. You wouldn't understand, you're just a number cruncher." Laura smiled thinly. "A number cruncher who kept Innovex afloat while you played visionary. The board will see it my way." Mark's face paled. "You can't go to the board. They'll destroy me." "You should have thought of that before you put Sophia's name on a lease with company money," Laura replied. "The shareholder agreement you signed, Section 12, Paragraph 3, gives me the right to call for your removal if you've committed fraud. I have the evidence." Mark sank onto the couch, deflated. "Laura, we've been together 28 years. Doesn't that mean anything?" "It meant everything," she said, her voice cracking for the first time. "Until you decided it didn't." She thought of the late nights she'd spent reconciling accounts while Mark networked, the vacations cancelled because of his crucial meetings, the dreams she'd shelved to support his. "You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." The next morning, Laura drove to Claire's house in Menlo Park. Claire, a soft-spoken therapist, greeted her with a hug. "I just heard," Claire said, leading her to a cozy living room filled with books and plants. "Mark called me, ranting about some conspiracy you're cooking up." "What's going on?" Laura explained everything: the offshore accounts, Sophia, the dossier. Claire listened, her face darkening. "I saw them together at a cafe last month," she admitted. "Mark swore it was just business. I believed him." "I'm so sorry, Laura." "Don't be," Laura said. "He fooled us all." Her phone buzzed, Emily, insisting on coming over. 30 minutes later, Emily arrived, still in last night's makeup, her eyes red. She hugged Laura tightly. "Why didn't you tell me, Mom?" "I didn't want to ruin your graduation," Laura said. "You deserved one perfect day." Emily pulled back, angry. "Dad ruined it anyway. He's telling everyone you're sabotaging the company out of jealousy." "He's lying, isn't he?" Laura nodded, showing Emily the key documents. Emily's face hardened. "He's been distant for months, always on his phone, brushing me off. I thought it was work stress." "How could he do this?" "We don't always see the flaws in the people we love," Claire said gently. "But your mom's handling it." Laura called an emergency board meeting for Monday, giving Mark 48 hours to prepare. She spent the weekend at Claire's, fielding calls from worried investors and reassuring Emily. On Monday, in Innovex's sleek conference room, Laura faced the board, 5 men and 2 women, all seasoned tech veterans. Mark sat across from her, his new lawyer, a nervous young man named Greg, at his side. Sophia was conspicuously absent. Laura presented her case methodically: bank statements, email chains, and the shell company's registration. Mark diverted $1.2 million from Innovex to fund personal expenses and a competing venture with Sophia Chen, she said, projecting documents onto the screen. This violates our shareholder agreement and puts Innovex at risk. Mark's lawyer stammered, these transfers were for legitimate business purposes. My client was exploring new opportunities. Without board approval? Laura cut in. Or my knowledge, as a 40% shareholder? The board members exchanged uneasy glances. One, a venture capitalist named Priya, asked, Mark, did you disclose these transfers? Mark fidgeted. It was a side project. I didn't think. You didn't think, Priya said sharply. That's the problem. After 2 hours of debate, the board voted to suspend Mark as CEO pending a full investigation. Laura's shares remained intact, and she was appointed interim CEO to stabilize the company. Mark left the room, his lawyer trailing behind, muttering about appeals. Word spread fast in Silicon Valley's tight-knit circles. By the end of the week, investors pulled support from Mark's new venture with Sophia, and rumors swirled about his financial misconduct. Sophia, facing scrutiny, distanced herself, claiming she was unaware of the fund's origins. Laura doubted that but didn't care, her focus was on Innovex and her future. She leased a small office in downtown Palo Alto and launched Bennett Financial Consulting, offering services to startups struggling with financial management. Her first clients were former Innovex partners, impressed by her handling of the crisis. Emily, now working in marketing, helped design her website, beaming with pride. You're a badass, Mom, she said during a coffee shop meeting. The divorce proceedings were swift. The shareholder agreement, combined with Laura's evidence, ensured Mark lost his stake in Innovex. He kept his personal savings, dwindling after legal fees, and a condo he'd bought years ago. Laura retained the Palo Alto house, her retirement accounts, and control of Innovex. Sophia moved to Seattle, reportedly starting over with a new tech firm. Mark's reputation, once golden, was in tatters. 6 months later, Laura stood in her new office, watching the sunset over the city. Her desk held a photo of her and Emily at graduation, both smiling despite the chaos. Innovex was recovering, and her consulting firm was thriving. She'd also started a nonprofit, Empower Accounts, to help women recover from financial abuse, using her story to inspire others. Laura sipped her coffee, feeling lighter than she had in years. Mark's betrayal had shattered her old life, but it had also revealed her strength. She wasn't just the silent partner anymore, she was the architect of her own future.